what is the government supporting? When money goes to Nairobi City County, it is going to Mama Lucy. Mama Lucy was still there during President Kibaki's time. Only that it was being funded directly from the ministry. When we talk about agriculture in Murang'a, there was still money coming from the Ministry of Agriculture going to Kakamega and the rest. So these functions were still there. So this fallacy we keep on bombarding to the people of Kenya about 47 counties. They were still there. In fact, it was worse, my brother. Take any county you have. There used to be something called local government ministry. It was the largest in Kenya. Ugepewa waziri wa finance, the second highest, used to be local government minister. So there were still these structures. City Hall haijakuja wakati wa devolution. City Hall used to be there. And it was still being funded by the local government ministry beyond the money they collect. In fact, it was worse. In Murang'a, there was municipal council, but there was also county councils. So in rural areas, there used to be local councils, which is like another MCA on top of another MCA. In fact, lastly, we used to have more councillors than MCAs. Good Kenyans. So where we have done well, let's admit, but let's not hide under some fallacies that we sell to Kenyan people. Did we have ECDs before devolution? Were they being paid? By who? By municipal what? Was municipal council a private entity? So hii mambo tunaambiwa there was 47, it is actually should be the other way around. We should be telling the people of Kenya we are growing faster because of the 47 county governments, not despite of. This should be the other way around. We consolidated them further, they became less. We had oversight now which is proper. We had structures of running our devolved units. By that time it was fragmented. Anyway, let me go to the last one. Yeah, kwani makofi hapa hata mpigi makofi. Let's go to Ruth. Thank you very much for that and also for the compliment. The issue of NSC. No, I am far from saying about investing in where government has stakes. There are some companies that are run professionally. In fact, I also invest in those government areas that government has stakes. Because for one reason or the other, the markets has undervalued them. For a reason I don't know which one. If you pick an insurance company owned by government, like Kenya Re, and you pick CIC, you realize the government one, the market places a lot of discount on it. Because the market maybe thinks the government may intervene, which may not be good. So I invest in them because I think they are undervalued. And in all honesty, because we shouldn't politicize the things that are working on the things that are good, I just wish the people in power would delete phone numbers from their phone of the CEO of NNSSF, of Kenya Power, of Kengen, of Kenya Re, of any government, of any listed company that the government has a stake. And I'm using public information because I don't want it to be sensational. We had the other day meeting in the big office, and I saw there are people saying, KCB, you know, I had raised an issue myself that KCB was actually forced to invest in Talanta Board. Talanta Board was also shunned by just the same way like KPC. You know, nowadays, when you manage things well, what I like about Kenyans can see beyond duplicity. So when you do things with a clean heart, people see essence in it. But when you start layering it with some duplicity, Kenyans can also see through. Talanta Board, the private sector shandy. There is no local bank which is private that bought it. So again, they called NSSF, Superannuation Fund, and KCB. Those are the biggest investors of Talanta Board. Because the other banks were asking, what security do we have? If another government comes and abolishes sports fund, our money evaporates. it becomes NPL straight away. So the other private banks asked, but Kenya Commercial Bank walked in there. G2G. So I heard some people in their office, KCB has done very well. People should stop talking about it. They have even made a profit of 68 billion shillings. That is fine. But before all those G2Gs and before all those others, Taranta Board, KCB was the most profitable bank in Kenya. Currently, Equity is now the most profitable bank in Kenya. It is not doing G2G. It is never bought Taranta Board. So what I'm trying to say is, I wish the government can realize that in KCB they only have 19% stake. That there is another 81% shareholding of people who are apolitical when they are investing. So that they let the companies make their own independent decisions. So I hope I've answered that question holistically. I believe KenGen, Kenya Power, even that KCB, fundamentally, I believe they are well-run companies, and I have nothing against them. The only thing I have against is the leaders who are calling them to direct them, and especially those who are trying to prop Kenya Pipeline shares because they are propping it, and I have evidence. So let the market do its own market realization. Wewe ukilist kampuni enda zako, the market knows how to value companies. Don't bother propping it up, and don't bother kuishikilia, and don't bother exaggerating. The market will value it appropriately.
Haya, time ya majenzi. So let's hope that you will not repeat questions, and let's hope that you will have questions very short. So I've spotted about 6 or 7 people, and I'm going to give all a chance, but you'll be very quick. Start with your name.
Okay. Good evening. Okay, my name is Hilary Oma. I go by Prince Media, mini social media manager. I've been following all your videos, like all of them on YouTube. So my question is this. Coming 2027, kutakuwa na election. Now we don't know because as you said earlier, when people are coming to the election, coalitions zinakujanga zinafanyika huko mbele, alafu unapata maybe Ruto amechukua mtu mwingine, maybe wewe ukataka kuwa president, ukafanya coalition. That's why when you were on NTV ulisema this is not the right time, wacha tupatie time iende. So swali yangu ni hii. Right now we are in a country of crisis. According to you, you specifically say that our economy is doing bad, not because of what tunaona like how the Kenyan shilling is compared to the dollar, but because the dollar ilianguka chini. That's why Kenya tunaona tukupoa, like dollar inaenda fiti na Kenya, but reality is Kenya inaanguka. So swali yangu ni hii. Come 2027, let's say by good luck, bad luck, whatever Kenya mtamua, Ruto is the president. Let's say by 2027, Ruto is the president. Sindo? Haya, when Ruto is the president of Kenya, kuna possibility that our economy, kuna possibility inaweza crash kama ya Ghana. So, swali yangu ni hii. What happens when the economy crashes? Like for instance Ghana, when we come to stock exchange, when it comes to money in our banks, what will happen as we prepare just in case iharibike huko mbele? Thank you.
Make it short, please. Very short.
Good evening. Thank you so much, Mheshimiwa, for the enlightenment. My name is Kiplimo Yator. I'm the current president-elect of the Rotary Club of Athi River. Quick questions. How can counties and constituencies better support SMEs to scale? That's the first one. The second one, what has been your biggest lesson in leadership while navigating Kenyans' economic challenges? The third one, what mistakes do young leaders commonly make when entering politics or public service? And at what point should a young person step into leadership instead of waiting for their turn?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Naomi Wanjala. Thank you, Mheshimiwa, for this insightful session. And you've really fought for the young people in this country, and we appreciate that. So my question is, suppose you are a young professional in this country, starting from scratch, what would you do different to build influence and financial stability faster? Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Stuart Njagi from the Rotary Club of Athi River. I hope everyone in this room is a registered voter. On to my question. Our club is very focused on education, basic literacy and education. Most of our projects going there, where we even got 5 of our members serving in BOM members of several schools around this location. So my question is, how do we ensure proper optimization of the resources that we have to ensure that we can be able to replicate Kiharu Masomo Bora into Athi River Mavoko Masomo Bora? Thank you.
So, good evening. My name is Moses Kanyago, and I'm a young person. And I want to speak on behalf of very many young people in this nation. And I'm a young person. I'm 21 years old, and I'm delighted to be here. And there was a time we met with our MC.
Go to the question.
So my question is about unemployment.
Yes.
And when we met with Mheshimiwa, so many people have asked me about jobs. Hey, ukipata tunataka kutoka sasa block, umepatana na unajuana na Mheshimiwa. So one thing that I would like to ask Mheshimiwa Ndindi Nyoro is about unemployment. There was a time the president was asked about unemployment, and he said that even before he became the president, their youth were still unemployed. So what I would like to ask Mheshimiwa is, what are we supposed to do as a nation and as Kenyans so that we can be able to support the young generation? And in terms of not just myself thinking of how to improve myself, how the society is going to help the young people to get out of this crisis of unemployment. Thank you. And by the way, I have a present for you, Mheshimiwa. After this, I think we should appreciate Mheshimiwa. Nimemletea kitu hapa.
So we take the last three. Last three.
Yes, good evening.
We'll have a gifting session, so let's keep calm.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Onsongo Paul. Thank you so much, Muhesh, for Onsongo Paul. So I'm thankful for the impact that you've created for the young people. My questions are 2. Question number 1. Through your influence, some of us, we joined stock market. And next year is electioneering year. So my question is this. You've been in this industry for some time, and you know the cycles that happen. What can you advise us, the people who have invested in stocks? What are we going to do? We are heading to the electioneering year. Are we going to withdraw, or we maintain and so on? Number 2, one thing that we are sure, you're not in the government. But one thing we are also not sure, we don't know where you are. We don't know if you're team Sifuna, we don't know if you're team opposition. So please, can you give us direction? Because also timing is very important. Thank you so much.
Okay, good evening. My name is Mutuma Edwin, Rotary Club of Kirinyaga. No, Kitengela. Sorry, I was in Kirinyaga also. My question is this, Mheshimiwa. I want to power and value for money. Chinua Achebe in long at ease says the African has been corrupt through and through. And in power, we've seen wealthy people, because of the proximity they have to power, they are very wealthy, not because of something that they manufacture or, yeah. So my question is this. We as middle class, because majority are middle class, we are taxed more, or we pay more taxes than the others, our peers, even in other jurisdictions. So, and in case of a sickness, we are one sickness away from poverty. What therefore is it a citizenry problem, or is it a power problem? Because the faces that we are seeing right now are the faces that we will see even in 2027. the citizenry problem in this way, these are the same people who wanted to kick Kibaki out of power in 2007. Yet it did work. So what is how can we bridge that gap? And yes, thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Wilson Wasonga. And thank you, Bwana Mheshimiwa, Bwana Nyoro for gracing this occasion. As you can see, I'm a senior citizen. I just turned 60 3 days ago. So you might as well sing happy birthday to me. But now I want to ask a question on behalf of my children. I've been following you and I see a lot of hope. I see a lot of future in this country when young people like you, what you articulate and the hope that you give to this nation. So my question is just direct. When are you gunning for the presidency?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kanyotu Munene, and I'm happy to be here. My question is, currently we are experiencing a war internationally, Iran, America, Israel. So as Kenya, are we ready for the aftershocks? And another question is, what are the opportunities therein? Thank you.
Thank you very much. We let Mheshimiwa take those questions, and then we will do the final round as I read the ones from online. So, Ivo.
Hello. Before Mheshimiwa, I'm Derek, and sorry for the interruption, but it's paining a lot. We've asked some questions zenye tumejiachilia. Athi River and Kitengela came out from industries. True or false? I've stayed in Kitengela tangu my parents came, and there's this one question that I want tujiulize sisi wote. We are running to stocks, we are running to do about privatization and everything, but there's one key question we are forgetting. Tomorrow, what will you eat? Because our industries are falling, our farming sectors are falling. What should we do as young citizens so that this problem cannot come to the Gen Alphas and even for the people coming after? Please.
You allow me to be precise so that we don't take so much time.
But we are here.
This Athi River and Kitengela, you are very exciting people. I think you should make me munafaa munisogeni kwe mmoja wenu. Hilary, thank you very much. Stock market, yes, I'm a proponent of the stock market. And he asked about then next year, what do we do now? Because next year, you know, in Kenya, it becomes so major when you have elections. The cycles have been, first of all, it really helps in growth of companies. Kitambo, when companies used to list, in our own NSC here, they were not listing to raise money. They were not listing to sell stakes. They were listing to raise money. So you have a company valued at 2 billion shillings. So you list 25% of the shares and you gain that money in terms of a revenue to again grow and become bigger. So next year, ukiangalia cycles za NSC, there is no defined path yet for elections. There are times when we have elections and the stock market is booming. There are some places, there are some cycles we have elections and the stock market is not doing so well. Always have this, my brother. And that I have seen that as very helpful to me as I invest in the NSC. I actually don't bother the price of the share. I bother the value of what I am buying. So when I do my math, and let's say I realize, hey, Equity Bank, at the current valuation, is 290 billion shillings, and they made a profit of 75 billion. So I realize the P/E ratio of that company is around 4, actually below 4. Even if they pay me some little dividend of 5.75 as they did, I reason around it. Where else can I put money where the company is growing at 55%, and even the money they never paid me in dividend, they retained it for me, maybe to expand in Ethiopia or elsewhere. So when you have that mentality, I actually don't care whether, if I buy the share at 77, whether it goes to 50. I usually don't bother, because I was not buying for the share price. It's called Kenya Pipeline. Even if you tell me what story, I will not be moved. I'll go to where in my calculations I see value. I would rather be wrong, having been grounded in fundamentals, than being right out of studying on quicksands. The second thing is the fifth one, Kiplimo. You ask many questions, and I'll be as precise as that. How can counties and constituencies help SMEs? Maybe by prioritizing them when it comes to procurement. The government remains the #1 buyer in a consolidated manner. Government as one entity is the #1 customer in Kenya. So it could be that. Fortunately or unfortunately, there are also some rules to follow. So within those rules, helping would be in that sphere. But also, in terms of capacity development, those people who have businesses, the devolved sectors like constituencies and counties, to also see how they can capacity build them. Secondly, young people, economic challenges of Kenya and how to handle them. Allow me to skip that. I answered it lastly on the manufacturing, the question that was asked about manufacturing, on how young people, especially, let me answer it in terms of going into leadership, the challenges they face. The #1 is obvious, that our electoral system is very heavy in terms of resources. So yes, we get outliers where, yes, we have examples of somebody who did what they needed to do within the means they had. But the reason we talk about them is because they are outliers. So on the general sphere, that is the biggest challenge. That there are so many people who would be leaders, but they are limited by the means to become a leader. And I think I've also answered the last one in that. Okay, there are many others, my brother. Leaders, especially young people, I would challenge them. When you talk about mentorship, don't read books only. Go to the ground. Find where your mentor, even if they don't know you, you hear they are going for a function somewhere, it's not very far from where you live. Just join into that and be part of the crowd. Watch how things are done. Within time, you know them. Within the other time, you are chatting with them. They are mentoring you directly. Even us, that's how God helped us to know people and also tukakanyaga shoulders zao. So like that man, young man there, he's from Murang'a University. Now this is the second time I'm noticing him. I had been invited by East Park at Safari Park. He came and he comes with a suit and tie. Hebu simama. That was he's actually not from the constituency I represent, but he's learning from in the university within the constituency, Murang'a University. So you can already tell the next thing he'll be in my office. The next time he'll tell me, hey, unaenda baraza wapi ya kuje. The next time huko kwa CDF nimempea karolo ya kusoma soma. The next thing he's addressing you as MP for their place. Naomi Wajala, thank you very much for the compliment. Young professions, I'll address you as a lady. I'll not even bother with my brothers here. Wow, watajisot. I was invited by ISPAC ladies in Mombasa last week, but one. There is one thing I want to bring forth to the ladies who are here. Last time, as you all know, I was involved in campaigns. So even after winning, filling some positions here and there, we were involved. One thing that was very stuck that time, you need women who are PSs, women who are CSs. This may not sound real. So we are there, you have won. So nani atapewa hii kiti? You look around, there are no people. Because when you are here, seated as my sister, you see a political gathering, in your mind you think, these guys are surrounded by people. Hii camp imejaa. Hata nikienda, no one will notice me. There are usually no volunteers in politics. There are usually very few. And I can challenge any lady who is here. Volunteer, ukiona governor fulani anaweza win, ebuenda, hata usiache kazi yako, volunteer tu hapo kidogo as a professional. You can guarantee you will come back here in 2028 as a CEC. There is a lady I met for the first time after we had won. So we met, we wanted to check PSs who can come from this area and the other. So after asking her questions, currently she's a minister, I will not disclose her. And I never knew her. You can imagine, I never knew her when we were campaigning. Somebody brought her, kuna mtu alikuwa sijui nini, muangalieni. So we sat down with him and the then deputy president and then another leader there. Tukamuuliza maswali, huyu anaweza kuwa PS because the CV was very good. Currently she's a minister or she sits in cabinet. So what am I trying to say? Be visible as a lady. Usikue CPAK, usikue economist, usikue that professional you are. Saa zingine hata ukiona uko na maoni ya kutosha, eda hata kwa TV useme hiyo maoni. You'll be shocked that people. There is a time we called one of the ladies who was CEO of KEPSA. He a Kenya private sector. So uko hapa unajaribu kujiuliza nani anaweza pewa kiti kama hii ya trade nini. I was there when we called. She declined because she was engaged in a better job. Why? Yes, she's qualified, but she's visible. Sometimes just elevating yourself from the crowd and just being visible can be more than the PhD you are pursuing, I can guarantee you. Bwana Jage, on education, how to ensure, okay, it was more or less about education. And I think I'll also answer it hapo mwisho, nikiongea story ya manufacturing. Bwana Kanyago, Moses, story of employment. The reason why people always, when they look for jobs through us, because I get that a lot, and it should communicate to me as a leader also. I may not have all the jobs to give, but it communicates to me that everywhere I go, somebody is asking me that they want a job. One is because when something is scarce, it becomes very competitive to get it. And then, the biggest tragedy that has come into our system is something called patronage. That nowadays you can see a leader starting with a microphone in a school and he's saying, employ those teachers into permanent and pensionable terms tomorrow. What comes to the mind of that other teacher in Turkana who knows no one? And then what is TSC for? See, we disbanded then. So that is, it's emblematic, first of all, of the scarcity of jobs. But more importantly, that a person believes the bridge to that job is this person who holds power. I think even as we thought about patronage, the bigger responsibility we have is to expand the opportunities. So that, ukienda US or UK, for example, you are choosing a job. Do I report to this one or this other one? Because there is abundance. So there is some work to do there, which is also tied up to manufacturing. I am going to finish. Bwana Osomo, thank you very much again for the compliments. Stock market, next year what to do. I think I answered. The issue is, there is no defined path. You know, to do an economic trajectory of anything, you take some period of time to make deductions. In Kenya, it's not expressed that when you have elections, that we have a bear market. It's not expressed. Always hold on to value. Where politically, I am here.
Are you one term or two term?
I am here in the river. As I said again, I don't want to be academic. Look at it this way, guys. So, 3 years ago, if you were asked to describe me, what was coming to your mind first? Hata umesema. Exactly. Very good. You would associate me with the group or the team I am associated with. Is it? Take any person on the other side. You also don't struggle to define them there. That is one thing we have to also know as Kenyans, that it's good we know our leaders first for who they are before they join in with anyone. First understand, if, for example, you have a choir here of ACK Kitengela, and you have another choir of Catholic Church Kitengela, and there is a very good singer there with a bass or alto or whatever. Then when you are asked, yule anaitagwa nani? Unasema ni, si yule ni yule the lady wa... Yes. Ukiulizwa that young man with a bass, utasema, si ni yule mtu wa bass wa... You see what I mean? Yet, that person, they have their own identity. As a person who, they have their own base, they put into that choir. So I have had that privilege and I'm grateful. It came unplanned. That I have had a chance also to be me. Being you is important. And I wish that all other leaders can be subjected into that. That before they are bowed up into a team, let's first know, are they a striker? Is it a defender? Is it a goalkeeper? Who is that person? The other thing, as I go to the finish, Mutoma asked a very good question. And because I've answered most of them in the previous questions, I'll come into where you asked about, is it about these leaders or about us as Kenyans? There is something around there. What I've seen, nations evolve. To be the nation that we are in as Kenya. Remember when you talk about a country, my brother, what is a country? Country is just boundaries. There's another, when we talk about Kenya as a country, it's just about our boundaries. After that, there is something we call a state. A state is the machinery of government, the machinery of the state structures, where we have now this ministry, this, that. There is also government. There is a republic, but there is a nation. A nation communicates what? A nation communicates identity. When you talk about, you know, when we go to Uhuru Park or Nyoro, when you are having national celebrations, you hear the head of state is called the President of the Republic of. The Republic is self-determination. Self-determination is, we are a republic. I mean, ni sisi tunajilid. That's the republic. When you talk about the nation, and that's why you realize when you come to government state, the president, the deputy work and the deputy president. Do you ask yourself, when it comes to the nation, the title of the president is the father of the nation. Who is the deputy of the father of the nation? It is the first lady. It's the mother of the nation. Why is that so? Because that is first of all detached from the instruments of. It is now about the people and how the people relate with each other. So what lacks most in Kenya is that we have nations within the nation. that even as we meet in the Nairobi now to talk about the nation of Kenya, we have first of all met in our conclaves as the nation of this tribe, the nation of this tribe, and that way. When you go to, for example, Nigeria is not a nation, because north and south, the disparity is so huge that it can't pass the test of called a nation. A nation is when you have shared values, homogeneity, either in language or in culture. In Kenya, the reason why we brought about Kiswahili as our national language is, again, you see, we never said Kiswahili of the Republic of Kenya. We talk about the national language. National is nation. It was supposed to bring us together, to come for me forgetting my mother tongue and her forgetting her mother tongue. So when we meet in Nairobi, I try to talk to her in my mother tongue, she can't understand. That is what it was supposed to be. Or even if she can understand, this Kiswahili comes first and my mother tongue comes second. That is where our biggest problem is. And that is where politics exploits. Look, for example, in 2024, the nation of Kenya, in terms of the people who came out, was a total nation of Kenya. But when politicians noticed, the nation, when it is united, changes can happen, they went back into conclaves. So they called in tribal chiefs, went into a table. Nani wame Ugana ni nyinyi? Are you getting what I'm saying? So that is anyway, thank you very much, our senior. I have heard you, but politics, what I've learned, before you say something, think about it well, plan well, don't take your supporters for granted. So when you are actually saying something, say it and do it. And when that time is there, we leave everything to the Almighty. Kanyotu, unajua ukiitwa Kanyotu tunakuogopa. But he has a very, very important, in fact, I actually thought that is the topic I would be invited to talk about. Iran, what do we see in Kenya and what are the opportunities? Let me tell you here today. Iran, what is happening in Iran is more than 200 rallies we can do in Kenya. Politically, what is happening in Iran has a bigger effect than 200 political rallies we can do in Kenya. In Kenya, first of all, you asked, can we actually even deal with the shocks? Let's ask ourselves first, what is it that we need to do, first of all? You heard me last week talking about oil, the whole week, from Monday to Friday. I was going everywhere, I was talking about oil. Because I know these people. Because I know them. And I know when I look at them what they are planning. So I decided to show them that Kenyans know that the stock in Kenya did not come now. Because that's what they could have purported. We are now over that now. The second thing is that Kenyans must have a conversation. Let no one in government, and let me say it very clearly here, let no one think they'll come next month, talk about oil and blame everything else except their own policies. In terms of oil, you can only change two things. One is the landing cost. Two is levies and taxes. As an oil producing country, there is very little you can do with landing cost. but you have everything you can do about levies and taxes. The price of fuel in Kenya, 50% is levies and taxes. So I want to tell the Ministry of the Department of Petroleum, EPRA, nyinyi wazee wa serikali, hebu kwanza msuspend hizo rallies zote. You come to Nairobi and plan about Kenya and what Kenyans expect next month. Because many times we take Kenyans for granted. You go around in rallies, but the fundamental things, we come to them last minute. Kenya from today, I actually would expect the cabinet would have met to first of all remove the 7 shillings that were put in 2024. That will be the starting point. The second starting point is that a time has now come, the 8% VAT that was introduced by this government, a time has come, ile mumechukua imetosha. These are extraordinary times. They require extraordinary measures. Because that is the only thing is in our control. Why? If you come and load in all these costs to Kenyans, you can already see what the government will do. Of course, mafuta itaongezewa bei, fare iongezewe, then they start purporting they want to control fares. That's what they will do. These guys, I know them. They now say they are calling Matatu Owners Association to talk about fares. No, instead of kupaka rangi, let's go to the root. The root of the pump price for a non-oil producing companies in a situation where it is unprecedented and in a situation where it is extraordinary, you also do extraordinary measures. 7 shillings added in 2024. Just know this, the banks that led money to government through securitization, using the 7 shillings, you will have, as a matter of fact, and I can tell you in the next 1.5 months, you'll have done it. You'll have to give a moratorium not to charge Kenya for those loans. And we may actually not pay those loans because they were illegal. Opportunities, how I see it. So oil prices, you can see it's like a seesaw. When you go to trading economics, that's the site I use mostly for data. You see crude oil prices. When you see red, you see Dow Jones green. When you see green in terms of oil prices going up, Dow Jones, you see red. It is, in my economy, it is the most predictive, I think, science there can be. That as oil prices climb up, the markets go down. And they don't consult immediately. Right now, Trump will come and say, oh, we are now protecting the Strait of Hormuz. Immediately, you see a red in oil, you see a green in the markets. That talks to us that, yes, we need to do what we must do as a country that has overtaxed its oil, but also as individual people, we try to scavenge. So, as the market in the US becomes unbearable, I think this is a topic I don't want to start, it will be long, but let me just say this. As oil go up, inflation will go up internationally. The Federal Reserve, most likely, I don't know whether they met today, they are likely, the very best, they are likely to sustain. They cannot now cut rates now. Because you have inflation to deal with. That's monetary tightening. That compounds our debt situation. I hope I am communicating to you, my brother. It's very technical. So the shocks will go beyond oil. They'll go to debt, they'll go to forex, etc. But, very lastly, on that issue, my brother talked about dollar. You know, when we come to TV, we have stabilized the dollar. You must have heard those speeches. We got it when it was 160. We have brought it down and stabilized. These are the realities. The dollar to Kenya shillings was 119 to 120 during the day of swearing in. It is now around 128 to 129. So between a dollar to Kenya shillings of 120 and the one of 129, which is stronger? The 2022 one or the current one? Now, you can take your phone after this meeting. Just go to Google and check how much did the dollar gain or lose in the year 2025. The dollar is the benchmark. The dollar is the global currency. Itself, because of policies, protectionism policies and etc., and a lack of independence that was being seen in terms of Fed, the dollar itself lost 10% in the year 2025. So you can't say the ceiling has gained. It is the dollar that has lost. And if you want to know whether you are right or wrong, now move away from the dollar, come to the euro and pound. The euro was 116 the day of swearing in. It is now 150. It's not my figures, it's figures. The pound was 136. It is now 170. We have stabilized the shilling. And those are the short stories. At the river and industry, lastly, I concur with you, Thika, at the river. Even my own father used to live in Kiadutu in Thika. They were going there because, yes, he was a carpenter, but there were more people to Tegenezea Viti. Nampak, Del Monte, all those other companies. Polisac, here it's cement, steel. The composition of GDP is primary production, secondary, and tertiary. But the most important of all those, which becomes an anchor to all the economies that have grown, is the secondary one, which is manufacturing. Because they bring synergies from primary. Primary means when you talk about cement company, clinker is the primary production. And when you talk about, let's say, Del Monte in Thika, that in Anasi is the primary production. The secondary production is the industry itself. Now, clinker inatoshana na hii chupa, ikigizwa tu kwa hiyo factory, the same way inatoka pale na value of multiples of the clinker than 17. So what manufacturing does is first of all to increase productivity. And that is why it should be very primary. Let me not give so much details into it, but just say, maybe we can discuss it on another day. The biggest problem Kenya has when it comes to manufacturing. You know, we can talk. We are bringing companies, we are doing this and that. One thing, it's called power. Power. And don't look at me like that. Me, I'm just a small-time guy over there buying a few shares, which I am not involved in. I'm just talking about the sector. Whether we like it or not, we have to address radically. Forget about distribution. Production. That's where the problem starts. Kengen has maybe 70% of our market share of power production. But you realize maybe the money that goes to producers, maybe they get less than half. What does that tell you? That the other 30% who are dependent power producers, they get more money, they are paid more money than the one we pay as consumers. Actually, Kengen subsidizes their power. Why? Because all of them, majority, they are vehicles of patronage. Give me one power producer in Kenya of a person you know. Ati tunaendaga na yeye church. Just tell me one. There is, I can say here, other than President Mwai Kibaki, there is no other leader who is not involved in independent power production in Kenya. It is to that level. And Kenya, tuache tu history ya kuongeanga tu vitu, not going around the problem. Let's go to where the problem is and aim it there. That you come and sign a PPA. It's called take or pay. Produce power. Whether you take or you don't, you still have to pay me. But that's not the problem. The pricing. So, when the problem starts there, the industry now becomes very expensive. I hope you know Kenya in terms of energy is the most expensive in the region. I also hope you know Petrol prices in Kenya are higher than Uganda, yet it passes through Kenya. Thank you for your attention on that matter.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, allow me now to invite questions from our seniors in the following order. First, Billion Ojiwa, followed by IPP Wakaba, followed by PE Kanjori, and then Exco Mudeu, in that order, and then we'll close it there.
My name is Billion Ojiwa. I don't think I have a question, but I was listening because last election I was running in Mathare for the Mathare parliamentary seat under UDA, and I think I'm also shifting some to and nijue kama niko pande gani. Asante sana.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you very much, Mheshimiwa, for being very candid. I'll also be a bit candid, and I will raise something that may be controversial and contrarian. In January of 20, my name is James Wakaba. I am a past president of RC Kitengela. In January of 2024, I happened to be in Kiharu for a funeral. I was born in Kiharu. My parents came from Kiharu, so I have relatives, friends at a place called Gidagara. At that time, the taxes had started going up tremendously. And in the church, an independent church, I was given an opportunity to speak because I knew the lady as a Mau Mau fighter. And I said, we are going back to the days of the hat tax. And I criticized the MP for Kiharu vehemently by saying he is part of the system that is increasing taxes in this country. And it was a bit hushed at first. Some people clapped, others didn't. The priest said, you are the last person who will talk politics in this church, in this funeral. And when we came out, some of the wazee told me, umefanya vibaya sana ku criticize MP wetu sababu ametufanyia mambo makubwa sana na CDF. And I was like, okay, so at that level, they are happy. But is the nation happy? Are the people happy? And we know what happened after that, the Gen Z protests and all that. So the controversial issue I want to talk about is this CDF and what effect at the macro level it has had on the country. CDF was, it came in 2003 through a person called Muriuki Karowe, who I had the opportunity to contest against in Kalau constituency. But it is not personal, because CDF would not have been there if I had won. And my point is, CDF has done very well. It has done many good things, but it also has done a lot of bad. It has been ruled repeatedly unconstitutional by the courts. And I know you change the act every time you change to a different act. It has made MPs extremely lazy. They have neglected their primary duty of legislation. If you go to South Korea, there are more than 30 laws on artificial intelligence today. Kenya, we have 0 laws. If you go to the US, there are more than 100 laws on finance. Here we have maybe 5 or 10. We have neglected our primary duty because we are able to demonstrate to our constituents that we are doing something by issuing CDF every 3 months. An MP goes home, he issues CDF checks, people clap. That is the work of a clerk in the chief's office. It is not the work of an MP. So because of this neglect,